Hello, everyone, and welcome to Black Space Live. I am your host, the Lamar Finley. It's another great day here in broadcasting live from the beautiful, beautiful state of Orlando, beautiful state of Florida, in the beautiful city of Orlando. But before we get started, do me a favor, because this is going to be some good information. Go ahead and click that subscribe button and click that share button. Don't keep this good information to yourself. Like, subscribe, and share. On tonight's episode is titled, Do Men Owe Women the Truth? And so this is going to be with respect to relationships and those, in the initial meetings, and we're going to have a good conversation. But I'm not going to talk about this by myself. I brought with me some heavy hitters. I'd like to first introduce our regular panelist, Janelle. Good evening, Janelle.
Hey, good evening. Great to be here and contribute towards the commentary.
Looking good as always, Janelle. We have a newcomer to the block, Kashima. Good evening, Kashima.
Good evening. Hey, I'm excited to be here.
Tell us a little bit about yourself, Kashima.
Well, I stay in Nashville. I'm originally from Georgia. I'm 25 years old. I actually turned 26 next week. And I'm single, just living the dream.
Happy birthday. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
Is that Beale Street in Tennessee? Is it Beale Street?
Yeah, that's in
Nashville?
Memphis.
It's Memphis. Okay. What's the
Memphis.
Nashville? What's the Nashville stretch?
Broadway.
Broadway. Okay. I'm definitely thinking. I've been to Memphis too many times. And Dr. Headley, I know you. Maxwell knows you. Long time no see. How you doing? Good evening, Dr. Headley.
Hello, how are you doing? It's been a while. I am happily married and a associate professor at the Bethune-Cookman University. Dr. Mary McLeod Bethune became the first woman in Statuary Hall representing a state. That happened last week, so I have to give a little shout and a plug. And I am coming to you from wonderful Flagler County, which is right outside of Daytona Beach, so Florida. So
yep, you're about an hour from me, and about 5
Right.
minutes from my training academy. So, well, welcome. So let's just get into it, y'all. Let's get into it. So the topic of tonight is: Do men owe women the truth? So when you're meeting a guy, let's set the stage. You done met a guy. A lot of women say, "Yeah, men aren't honest. They put on a facade. They don't tell us the truth." So you just met a guy, and up front, do we owe you the truth when we first meet y'all? For relationships, we're gonna go ahead and get started with the newbie. Well, let's jump right in. Kashima,
Yes.
what do you think?
Yes, y'all do.
Why?
I mean, I don't want to go into something and feel like if we're getting to know each other, I just want you to be upfront. I don't want to feel like I'm being led on or you're doing XYZ behind my back. Just be upfront. If you want a relationship, cool. If you want friendship, cool. If you just want like a booty call, cool. Just like let me know upfront so I know what to expect,
Do you really want a guy to be that honest with you though, Kashima?
Yeah, it saves a lot of time. Like if I look back at my previous encounters, it would have saved a lot of time. Honestly.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't necessarily think women want the truth, but I'm not going to give my opinions right now. Janelle, your thoughts?
For me, definitely, because unless you want to be replaced as soon as your representative comes out, then we might want to get some transparency going from the beginning. Because we all know when that representative shows up, it's time to start, going through the black book and
don't women lead with their representative as well?
I mean, that's a good point. I mean, it depends. Like if it's someone that you're really trying to pursue, you want to just be honest, because when the real person comes out, you don't want them to replace you. So the more transparent you are up front, the better, so.
Dr. Head, go ahead. I'm sorry, Janelle.
No, I'm listening. I'm
Okay.
listening. I'm kind of you are in the beginning, the less dishonest you have to be, right? And I know that sounds contradictory, but the fact of the matter is, if you're selling something that isn't real, you get caught up in the lies. What did you say? What did you mean? How did you represent yourself? So that, if that's what you're talking about. But I do think that, especially now with the pervasive use of social media for everything, that people have different facets of their personality, and sometimes they allow the vision that they want to present to supersede the facts, and that becomes an issue. And if you build a relationship on that kind of misinformation, there's bound to be trouble somewhere down the line.
So, Kashima, you said that yes, you want guys to be honest. It'll save a lot of times. I'm gonna
Yeah.
poke you. I'm gonna poke you a little bit. So you're telling me that when you go on dates, you are completely upfront with the men up front as far as your expectations. Completely
Yeah, I'm
honest.
completely honest. I have nothing to hide.
So you've never been on a date with a guy that you had no interest in, but you went on a date with him anyway, knowing he liked you, and you didn't even waste his time.
See, I don't even do that. Like honestly, I don't
That
want to be dating someone or even go on a date with someone I'm not attracted to or interested in. Why waste both of our times, you know?
Do you have men in your friend zone? In the friend zone?
Yeah. Hmm.
Why? Why?
Because I just don't like them as any more than a friend.
But you know they like you more than a friend. Why don't you just tell them, look, it'll never happen. You don't have a chance in the world. So just go on. Why do you keep them in the friend zone? What value are they to you that you keep them in the friend zone?
I mean, some have tried, and that's why we're not friends now. But I still have friends who never even tried to hit on me like that.
Okay, I'm gonna come back to that one. Janelle. So I meet you on the date, Janelle. I meet you on the first date, Janelle. And I say, you know what? The reason that I asked you out is I thought you were attractive. You are a gorgeous woman, right? And I want to have sex with you. But I know that in order to have sex with you, I gotta I gotta date you first. You respect me for that, Janelle?
If you just blatantly come out and say that you want to have sex with me,
Yeah. That's being completely honest. That's being completely honest, is it not?
I mean, yeah, but some things go unsaid. I mean, you want a man to be a gentleman, that just like you want us to be feminine and act like a woman. You want to be able to speak to a lady the way she's supposed to be spoken to, and you don't want to lead with, "I want to have sex with you." At the minimum, say, "I'd love to make love to you," but I wouldn't just come out and be like, "Oh, I want to have sex with you." Like, I think it's a little tacky. So
But
maybe on the
but you
third
do
date though.
but you do know why men ask women out on dates, right?
Yeah, so they can get to the bedroom,
Right.
see
What do you
what car they're gonna buy.
right. Dr. Headley.
See if they can buy the car.
We listen, we're gonna be we're gonna I want to be honest in this conversation. I like to get right to it. Dr. Headley, your thoughts?
That's funny. Well, it's a new world, I guess. I mean, of course, that's one of the reasons that you ask somebody out, I guess, because that in the back of your mind. But it's not necessarily that as well. I mean, you could be attracted to a person, but you don't specifically say that's exactly what you want, because sometimes it's not what you want. It depends on the circumstances in which you meet. It depends on the type of conversation that you're having, and it also depends on the maturity of the people involved. So if it is just, I mean, there are superficial. I mean, if you're going, there's superficial relationships, there are deeper relationships, and there's that special relationship. So it depends on where you are in your timeline. I mean, excuse me, I got to rub my eye. Sorry. It depends on where you are in that timeline. So, you know, if the relationship that you want is a purely physical one, well, you might as well be honest and get it out of the way. If it is something deeper, depending on where you are in your life, are you ready for a serious relationship? Are you still just on you know, the pleasure, the physical, the very topical relationship? You need to be honest with the person, and maybe they're there too. It really depends, but yeah, to blatantly come out and say that, I mean, hey, it may work, but usually it won't. So it depends, I guess. As you get as males mature, and of course the famous males mature slower than women. So I think that kind of changes the outlook. The results, the end result may be the same, but it may be longer, it may be sooner, but it may not be the first thing that you um, think about. And of course there is some sort of physical attraction in the beginning, or else you wouldn't be asking the person.
Yeah, it's mostly physical attraction initially, right? Men don't ask women.
But if you
Go
don't,
ahead.
yeah. I was gonna say yeah, because the first thing you see is that person, and there's something about that person that you like. I mean, unless you're in a specific situation where the person may be talking, or you're at a conference or something, or you're, in a situation where either the voice or whatever else. But yeah, there's physicality involved, of course.
Right, of course. Kashima, you look like you look like you're chopping at the bit right there. What you
Right?
guess? Go ahead, chime
No,
in.
no, I'm just listening.
So
I'm also
so
older, so I mean, I'm just saying.
I think we're all older than Kashima. I think she's still in the thick of this dating, this dating game. But I don't think that men can't be completely honest up front. We have to play the game in order to be aware. But women do the same thing. Women aren't honest up front either. So for example, Kashima, are you in a relationship, single? If you don't mind sharing.
I'm completely single.
You're completely single. Your last relationship, how long? When was it? How long ago was it?
I guess 2018.
2018. God, 4 years ago.
Yeah.
No date, no dates, no dates since then.
No, dated someone up like 2019 or so, but it wasn't anything serious.
What? I want to know what happened. I'm curious to know what happened in that particular situation. Like what went wrong? Why did it end so fast?
I mean, they just wasn't ready to commit. So
So
that's pretty much it.
you looking for marriage?
No, just like a relationship.
You want a regular relationship? So
Yeah.
when you meet a guy, do you approach guys? You let guys approach you? How does that
They
dynamic work?
it they approach me unless I really like them, I might approach them.
So when you approach a guy, what do you? I want you to walk me through. What do you say? How do you approach him? Since you're being so honest, how do you approach the guy? Talk to me. You're approaching me. Talk to me.
I
How do
mean,
you
I
approach?
just
I want to hear this
just
approach.
like slide in the DM. So I don't approach them in person.
So what do you? I mean, what are you saying? So you wanna? What do you? I wanna relate. Do you lead with I want a relationship, or do you just, hey, I think you're
No.
cute.
Yeah, like, hey, I think you care. Love to get to know you better, or or like, I might tell a joke or something, get them laughing, and then it just happens from there.
So as the conversation progresses to the dating stage, you're out on the date. Do you lay your expectations down, or I'm curious to know how this goes because I hear a lot of times that women say that men aren't honest, right? That's the saying. Janelle, would you agree?
Yeah, I would say for the most part, yeah.
So I want to know like where does that come from? Why do y'all believe that men aren't being honest?
Well, I don't believe that all men aren't honest. I just believe that they try to finagle you to get in the door. So even if they're lying about their age or if they're lying about, their occupation or what have you. When I met my husband, he's only 8 years older than me. He lied about his age. And I'm like, I'm not this young tenderoni. Like, why are you trying to say you're 35 when you're really 45? And I didn't find out until like a couple weeks in. And a part of me was like, wait a minute, if you're lying about this, you might be lying about something else. But I kind of let it go. And he explained to me why. He said, well, because, you're a lot younger than me. I thought you weren't going to be interested. So once he kind of had me, then he was like, okay, let me just tell. Well, actually, I seen his ID when we went out. I was like, wait, let me see that again. Because, women were detectives. So it's like,
Y'all
Yeah.
nosy as
super. And
hell.
That
it was
is
my
funny.
spidey eye from like across the room, like, give me that. And then he had no choice but to tell me the truth. But I'm like, how long were you going to make me think that you were like 10 years younger than what you are? It was crazy.
Has it
Anyway.
happened to you before? Has a guy lied to you about his age before?
Not really, no. That's why I thought it was kind of weird. No, I usually always dated older men anyway, so I thought they were just, okay. They knew that I liked them, so they didn't have to try to lie and say they were younger. So
How
it's
long you
kind
been married? How long you been married, Janelle?
of 3 years. Yeah, so we're still new to this thing. So yeah, 3 years.
Dr. Henley,
Mhm.
I kind of
I'm
chuckled
just
when we
listening.
said you was listening. I kind of chuckled when you said women are not the detectives. No, y'all
Oh
nosy.
no, they are. They are.
Oh, I'm super nosy. Yeah, and
Yeah,
don't
me
get
Uh,
too.
my detective mode going. Oh, I'm looking up everybody's background, the whole family.
yeah, they are nosy. I once
And-
I
and-
once dated a woman that we got to the point in which I invited her over, and I
Mhm.
had to leave out to get some stuff because I was making dinner, and I came back and she's like, "Oh my God, you have great credit." I was like, "How in the world do you know I got good credit?" There was a letter, you know, how you get like a loan from something from the bank. They always give you your credit score in a little letter.
Wow.
I'm like, not only did you go in my office, which was off
wow.
limits, you were reading my mail.
And she told you too. That's crazy.
Yeah, right.
Wow.
Violation.
Wow.
Right.
So back to picking on Kashima. Um, back to picking on Kashima. So, what is the worst thing a guy's ever told you? Like, because the common trope is men are lying, right? They don't tell you the truth.
Hmm.
Give me an example of this happened to you. I want to dig into that.
I mean, I don't really have any example. You just know when someone's lying and full of shit, honestly. No, you can
So
just feel it.
how do you know? How do you know though? Like, how do you know?
Women's intuition. We know all that
Hmm.
stuff.
Yeah,
If
God will tell us in a dream that y'all
Yeah.
out here being dogs.
if
Right.
women's intuition were that great, women would be much more successful in relationships. Y'all intuition is terrible.
No, we
It's
just let some things slide. It's called, remember the song from Eve back in the day, Love is Blind? Like
Yep.
or
sometimes you
lust is blind.
lust too. Yeah. I mean, sometimes,
This is
like
this is
like Samora said, oh, I know he didn't have a license. I just let him drive my car. I just walked into the punch. I mean,
Hmm.
it's like if you really, really like someone, like you'll be able to take some blows sometimes. Not physically, ladies, that's not okay. I'm not condoning physical abuse. I'm just saying you will deal with some things that a brother has to
Hmm.
offer if you really
So
like him.
y'all
Yeah.
so y'all admitting that it ain't the fact that he lying, it just ain't the right brother telling you to lie.
Yeah, kind of back to that episode we did with the beta versus the alpha. Some can get away with this, some can get away with that.
I wish I could split screen and play back some of the conversation that we've had on here. See, Kashima, you're new, right?
Hmm.
We've had these whole debates about the beta guy and the alpha guy, right? And they swear up and down they want this beta Karen charismatic, listens to my feelings guy, but the reality is they chase the alphas. And so that's kind of an ongoing debate here on Black Space. Here on Black Space. So, so do you? Janelle's married. Janelle's happily married, right? Janelle, you've been out here. You've been out here. What? Give me an example of an instance in which a guy fed you BS and you didn't let it go, and you were into him.
I would say, oh my God, I don't even know because I didn't really put up with too much past the second week. Let me see.
Hmm.
Like, come on.
You was curving cats after a week.
Yeah, it was. I was. They called a shredder. Like, and if if you listen to like the matchmaker, I'm the shredder. Like the minute I see some BS, you just go right in the shredder. But I don't know. I guess I had a way of like bringing things out of people, so I would have real conversations, ask real questions, and then I knew if I was getting a real answer or not. Again, the only thing like my husband, he lied about his age. I mean, there was no way for me to tell he was not lying. I mean, he looked like younger. So I don't know. I think, for me, someone said one time they lived by themselves, they were living in their mom's basement. And it's like the red flag was I never went over his house. And then I drove by the one day and I seen the whole family coming out and I seen him going in the basement. And I'm like, okay, well, I'll never talk to you again. So, I mean, it's just maybe something as simple as that, but not like, oh, I'm married with 5 kids and I find out like a year later, nothing crazy like that. So I think women just have to ask the right questions. You got to be your detective mode. You got to run the credit reports, run the background checks, and pretty much like the CIA, like you're trying to get a top secret clearance, run that whole thing. And then they have no
I
choice. You can pull it up on them and then they have no choice but to tell you the truth. So
so I do have a question,
Go ahead, Dr. Haley.
and I know that I've heard the credit score has come up several times. they're jerks with good credit though. So does that automatically negate somebody that might have so-so credit, but is a decent person, a decent guy? Because we are talking about and when does the credit part come into the conversation? Because it's just something that I was just thinking about. I mean, I understand that you want somebody that you do if you get into a relationship that you want somebody that, as they say, it's at least evenly yoked, right? So you're not sitting there like you said, the young man that was going into the basement or what have you, and lying about it. But you want somebody that will be upwardly mobile and not throwing you, not holding you back. But when does when does that level of conversation commence? Because as you said, you're the shredder. You give them 7 days, and that's about after 96 hours, they about gone. They're out of gas. So
Right before I'm ready to give up the draws, I need to make sure that it's real, So it's
okay.
usually
I understand.
about 30 days.
I understand.
That is hilarious.
That's a good question, because I had that same conversation with my husband probably 1 month into us dating. I asked him, like, what is your credit score? Because if we're going to be building a family, like, I don't want to be at the finish line and, I'm the one getting the house. I mean, we're in a partnership. And he cussed me out. Like, you shouldn't be asking me about this. And I'm like, well, why? Like, you're making a point to build a family together. Like, it's important. And at the time, not to put his business out there, but his credit was like just mediocre. And I think that's why he got so defensive. But I actually helped him build it, and 3 years later, we're in our dream home. And it's like, I can definitely say that I contributed towards, us getting to where we were, because he didn't really know about credit. A lot of people don't have credit literacy. So I literally, over the last few years, have helped him build it up. So that's a great point. I think it's okay to bring it up. And if you're with someone who doesn't have good credit or mediocre, if you're the type of woman who's willing to build with that person and help them, if you're knowledgeable about that, it's not going YouTube. But at the end of the day, it's like, you can't expect someone to have like perfect credit and be perfect everywhere, all the way down the line.
Right.
So.
Okay.
Because she was sitting down here like, wow, y'all asked about credit scores? I just
Girl, yeah,
I'm
telling you, it's important. It's very important.
I just be wanting to know if he got a car. You got a car?
No, you'll be ready to, you'll have a baby, and you'll be ready. Like, you're not gonna have me up in no apartment with these kids. Not to knock anyone who's been there, because we went from a 700 square foot apartment to a big house. But at the end of the day, it's like, if we're both successful, there's no reason why we shouldn't put our family in a home, and make an investment towards that. And you want to be with someone who understands that. And credit, you got to start with credit. So
and I forget how old you are, Janelle, but it's not necessarily important because you're married now. But did 22-year-old college age Janelle ask these same credit probing questions?
That's I'm 39, but I would say probably about like 25, I started asking, because 25 was where I was like, okay, I want to see myself getting married, and I want to be with someone who is mobily upward, So I think about 25. 23, I was just worried about myself. I didn't really care. I was working on my own credit, because I knew I was probably going to be asked at some point when I become marriage material, like, okay, well, what is your credit score? So yeah, about 25.
Okay, fair enough.
And that's the maturity aspect, because I mean, thinking back when I was 23, credit was the last thing I was thinking about.
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking about what party I'm going to go to, where am I going, who's what, where, to ask those same questions. I probably would have been one of the persons, that pure physicality at 23. So, and I was like, it's a maturity aspect. So you're thinking about that. Most guys aren't at that age, right? So, but another 3-4 years, then they start thinking about those other things, because that's when you start, I want to own a house, or I want to do this, and you start having 5-year plans. And even if they don't know that it is a 5-year plan, they start with a 5-year plan in their head of some sort. And it does take somebody, whether it's their significant other or somebody, to help them plan that out, and to make that roadmap, to make it easier as they go through life. And I think that's the major difference. So when you met your husband, he was already down that road, because as you said, he was older, even though he had issues, with the credit literacy, but he was still on that road because of his experiences. holistically. Oh, hold on one second, please.
Yes, it's true.
All right.
So, Kashiba, you're awfully quiet over there.
I'm listening.
So,
My
I gotta bring you
phone
back
kept on
in,
trying to connect.
back into the conversation. And Dr. Headley, yeah, mute your microphone. There you go. There you go. So, Kashima, now I need to know: is marriage or long-term relationship something even in your future?
Right now, I mean,
I said future. I
yeah.
didn't say right now. I said future.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I'm starting to think about it. I'm about to be 26. I do want to get married eventually and settle down, have kids.
Okay. So I'm asking this question because you said you've never had a situation where in dating which you felt like you were led to believe something about a guy that wasn't true, that caused you to be dismissive of him, and you felt misled. That's never happened.
I mean, there's been a couple situations, but I can't like think of them off the top of my head. Like there's just guys in general.
Like, I mean, when you say guys in general, I'm sure something comes to mind, right? Like, for example, when I hear about women, right? I
Yeah.
think about women that use guys, right? I think about women that
Hmm.
use men for money. They're not honest and upfront about their intentions. When I think about women that will go on date after date after date with a guy, this dinner, that dinner, may do a trip together. She knows what he wants from her. She ain't giving it to him, but she will drag him on and then friend zone him and continue to drag him on, knowing what he wants. And I think, in my opinion, that's more dishonest than men. Men are playing a game men are playing a game because men date for sex, right? And I don't know if you knew that.
Yeah.
Did you know that, Kashima? Did you know that,
Yeah.
Kashima? Right?
Yeah.
So that's why I asked you if you've ever been on gone on dates and stuff with a guy that you just weren't interested in. Because that's
Mm-mm.
dishonesty. That's
Yeah.
dishonesty. Janelle, have you done it?
What did what?
Gone on a guy asked you out on a date, and you went out with him knowing you wasn't now interested in this dude.
Yeah, they call it meal hustlers. So
Have you meal hustled?
no, I had a
You
really
married now,
good
you can
friend.
tell the truth.
No, well, I know, right? I had a really good friend who used to do that, and I used to get on her all the time. But I was just tired of people like putting up old pictures of themselves, and then you'd go in person. And you know what? I'm not going to mess up my hungry stomach. I'm going to take this meal. Like I'm never going to see you again because you lied about who you were physically. But guess what? I'm going to eat this steak and this lobster and drink these 6 margaritas and act like I never even met you because you just wasted my time and my gas. I'm gonna get this meal out the way.
Wow.
Some women just do that. They whether they like to do
it.
that or don't, they just get a free meal.
Yeah,
I don't
some
just end
do.
it and sit there.
What'd you say? What'd you say, Kashima?
Yeah, I said some do that. Not me, but yeah, I know some do that.
I'm only doing it to get back my time because you lied to me. Like you were really 4 foot tall and you said you were 6 feet. Come on.
Good movie. So I think that women catfish more than guys do. Much more
I
than
think
guys
they do
do.
too. Yeah.
Especially now. So y'all have, first of all, y'all put a lot of older pictures of yourselves of years ago, and Janelle can attest to this more so than you, Kashima, because you're still in that prime, and so you haven't really hit the 30s yet to where things begin to they change. And so I've met women that put up pictures of them in like freshman year of college, and they didn't finish grad school, and so that's a lie. And then add to that, the weaves. Nothing wrong with weaves, but that's not necessarily being honest. And then the filters. My favorite one is them cotton picking filters.
I can't
Filters
get
and
that.
angles. Filters and angles are
Bunny
the devil.
ears. Mm-hmm.
Yes, filters and angles are the devil. A woman, true story, and she cursed me out. She hit the camera angle, and this was online dating. So she hit the camera angle and from this angle up here, and all you can see is she had a very pretty face, very pretty face. And so it looked like from this angle, it looked like she was, a size 4, 5, 6.
No.
But when I met her, she was like a size 20.
Oh, that's terrible.
Oh my
And
Lord.
she said that I'm shallow. You're shallow. You're shallow. You thought I was pretty. I only got a little bit of pounds. You're shallow. I'm like, you're being dishonest. This is not what you look like. You know.
So what did you do? Did you still go through with the meal? Sorry.
No, we got into arguments. We got into an argument. We got into a stone cold argument.
I would have stroked your ego all the way through that meal, honey.
Okay.
That's dirty. That's dirty. I think that happens more. Guys get used up front much more with dishonest women. Instead of saying, you know what, this ain't gonna work. This ain't gonna work. We clearly don't see eye to eye. You would thug your way through that meal just to have a free meal.
And women are more vindictive too. Like if someone does something to me, like the next 5 people are gonna feel it from that. It's gonna feel it somewhere.
But y'all as guys, y'all have the audacity to ask guys who hurt you. And
I know,
all the guy
right?
has to do is
We do that.
Yeah. Who hurt you? You're the one with the devil ears over here.
Right. And all the guy has to do is put the wrong height on the dang on profile. I'm gonna get you for that one. The next dude, you good, Mr. Good Man.
Are we going to war?
Look, are you a deacon in the church? Yeah, I don't care. You finna pay for this meal tonight with your fine, ugly deacon self.
Yeah, we're going to war on that one.
Y'all are much more deceptive. So I want to kind of pivot a little bit and kind of get off of women for just a little bit. So there was a post on Twitter. I want to switch topics just for a second because I want to discuss this. There was a post on Twitter about. Do you guys watch Insecure?
No.
You've never seen Insecure?
No.
Oh my God, that's like the black show of black shows. Any event, there's a what is his last name? There's an actor on there. He plays a guy by the name of Lawrence. So Insecure is a black show created by Issa Rae. Y'all know who Issa Rae is? Do I revoke y'all black cards?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right. I'm going to revoke some black cards in here if y'all know who Issa Rae was. So there was there's an actor in her show. She had a show called Insecure, and it was basically like a black Sex in the City, if you will. Kind of. It's kind of like relationships. There was like a married couple. There was a career woman in Mali who'd been going through relationship after relationship. And then, of course, the show was centered around, of course, Issa Rae, this character. And she dated a guy in there by the name of Lawrence. And Lawrence is, handsome black guy. But in any event, Lawrence in real life he married a white woman. His name is Jay Ellis. And ended up marrying a white woman. In fact, his wife starred in the movie Top Gun. And they had been dating. They had a child together. They had been dating for 7 years. And under his Twitter and his IG, of course, he posted a picture of them getting married. And oh boy, our women, black women, when I say our women, I'm talking about our black women, lost their collective minds. They were giving them all kind of hate. How could you be on a black show? And how can the world can you be on a black show, about black love, and marry this white woman and all this other kind of nonsense? Like, what are you guys' thoughts on that reaction from our women?
I mean, I heard about that.
Yeah.
But love who you want to love.
It's true.
Honestly.
Dr. Heather, are you there? I'm sorry, Janelle, go ahead.
No, but I think it makes us look bad, because it's like you could have went after that same man, but be someone that somebody wants to choose. So, you don't need to feel like the competition. Just be the one that gets chosen, so.
Dr. Heather, you there?
I'm here. I just, it was what you're saying is just the same response that Chris Rock is getting right now. That he's now dating a white woman, and there are people who, I mean, the responses are just, crazy. They were like, "Oh, I knew it. He never liked black women. I knew he didn't." And I was like, he was married to a black woman.
Right.
Until this time, I never. It's not like he was serially dating, and it wouldn't matter. But it wasn't like he was serially dating white women. It's just like a girlfriend, and they're vacationing, and it's just some of that is people project their feelings upon other things. I'm like, if Chris Rock was a regular person, would you be attracted to him? If he wasn't Chris Rock, if he was just Chris from the neighborhood, would that be your cup of tea? And if it would, okay, fine. But if not, then that's the issue. And I understand
the rationale behind those type of feelings because of the historical crap that we went through. The black community and black men feel the same way about when black women date white men. But some of that is you have choices, right? And you make those choices, and if the relationship works out, then you love, like I was saying earlier, you love who you love. And so I don't know. I think that many people need to work on their own relationships individually and then move on from there.
Dr.
If that
Headley, you
makes
said
sense.
it makes sense. You said black women have that same reaction when black women marry white men. Can you hear me?
Could you hear me?
Yeah, I said, can you hear me?
Oh, yeah. I'm. It's going in and out. Maybe I need to reconnect my headphones. I'm sorry. Hold on one
Okay.
second.
All right, no worries. So, Janelle, I thought Dr. Headley said that black women have that same reaction when black women marry white men. Do you think that that's a true statement? Because I actually disagree with that. I was going to push back against that.
Yeah, I don't agree with that either because I mean I feel like they have their reasons why, and that's validated by them. But I don't feel like it's anyone. We shouldn't judge them for that.
What are the
Um,
reasons?
well, I think culturally, there may be some because there was times where I was like, I'm just tired of brothers. I'm just gonna go get a white man. Like I mean, and maybe and I'm gonna have to teach them about hot combs and hair grease and how we fry our chicken and stuff like that. But and that's okay. And then I thought about it, I was like, no, I don't want to do all that. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing it.
So they get that upset because because they feel it's a cultural thing. Like that's not. It's almost like they respond as if they own us.
Who owns us? The white
Black
women?
women. Black women respond as if they
Oh,
own us.
yeah, like how dare you go outside of
Yeah.
us?
Yeah.
It's funny. That's one of my when I was dating, that was one of the questions that I've asked on the list of important things to ask is do you date outside of black women? And I think the reason why I asked that is because I need to know if somebody has some I sound like I'm echoing. Can you guys am I echoing?
Yeah.
Oh, oh, okay. But I need to know like, is there competition outside of my my ethnicity? Because if so, then the brother at any time that he's not happy with, me being a black woman and what I bring to the table, he's just gonna go because he has many more options outside of the black women pool. So
Mm-hmm.
and I usually didn't used to date guys. I used to not date guys who dated white women or even Spanish or outside. And I know that sounds very shallow and superficial, but I realize that they value you more when they just date black women. Like they value like you like they value their mother. Not saying that the men who date outside of the culture don't, but I just feel like they have a better appreciation for their Nubian queens when they just date their Nubian queens and they don't go outside of that.
Janelle,
You
I
see that
think
look
you're.
on your phone? That look.
I'm about to fire back. I think you're echoing. I think is your YouTube on in the background?
No.
Quick mic check. Mute your mic quickly.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right,
Hello?
mic check. We're good there. All right, Doc, you're good.
Okay.
Kashima, mic check. All right, no echo. Okay, and then lastly, you, Janelle, mic check. All right, I think we're good. Somebody was echoing there for a minute.
Okay. Yeah.
But so why okay, I want to understand that. I want to understand that dynamic. Why is it that if I date a white woman or a Latina or or an Asian woman, if I want to date, Kim Lee or Maria or why is or Becky, why is it that I don't love my culture all of a sudden? Why I don't understand that dynamic. Why would you not date a guy or why did you not date a guy like that? Why do you feel that way?
Not that you don't love our culture or love us as black women, but I think tolerance levels go through the roof sometimes. Like, for instance, when I dated men who dated outside their race, the minute they get tired of seeing your wigs all over or weave hair all over the floor, or why is there chicken grease all over on the backsplash every day? Like, let me just go to the white woman. Let me just go to Becky. I ain't got to worry about all that. And I mean, that's just those things sound very shallow, but
True.
it's so true. Like, they'll just get sick of us. Like, oh, you're loud, or this and that. Like, Becky isn't like that. And it's like, I don't know. I just think when there's women that they can date outside of us, then they kind of get a little picky with you sometimes. Not all men, but some of them that I've encountered in my dating phases. So
Yeah, that's true.
yeah,
I
and
don't
then
even think.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Christina. Sorry.
I was just saying, like, my issue isn't with like us dating outside our race. It's when we bash each other because we're dating outside our race. You know what I mean? Like, someone goes to a white or Latina or something, and then the person who they're dating, they're like, well, black women too, this and that. That's why I went to a different race or something. That's what I don't like, especially when you came from like a black woman yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Like, just don't do that.
Yep, it's true. And the men who I know that only date black women, they value you. They put you on a pedestal. Like, Becky could never. you know,
Right.
Give me all that fried chicken, girl. Like, I don't care. You can have 1,000 weaves in every other day, and it's like, we don't care. So it's like, I don't know. That's just my personal opinion. I'm not speaking for the world or in general, but it is what it is.
No, we're here for your opinions, but I think it's a double standard, right? Just like the dishonesty, it's a double standard, right? Y'all, if a man has a bad experience with a woman, then goes on this this tirade through women, it's who hurt you? You need to get your life together. How dare you? But if women, you just said, Janelle, a guy messes with you, the next few guys are gonna pay for it. But on this, if a guy marries out, it's like, oh, your mama black. How you gonna marry Becky? And your mama black. And so, but if you look at the comments when Meghan Markle married Prince Harry, it was Sister Queen. When Serena Williams married the billionaire, it was okay, sis. Okay, sis. It's a double standard. On one hand, y'all own us, but y'all are free to do what you want to do. Help me
Don't forget
understand
about
that.
Eve.
Right, Eve. Thank you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's a different energy, and that's one of the many double standards with our women that drives me absolutely bonkers. I need to understand that. I need to understand that.
Yeah,
So
I mean,
go ahead.
for me, it's a deal breaker. Like, that's the first question I asked my husband. Like, do you date white women?
Wait, you still ask that?
No, I mean, no, that was the first question. Yeah, I mean, yeah, even I'm in my late 30s. Like, yeah, like that's one of the first questions I asked him when we started dating. I need
So
to know.
that's still important to you.
Yeah.
Why?
Because the women be after my husband, so I need to know, like, if you're just gonna be dating black women, then especially where we live, there's not a lot here. So it's like, I ain't gotta worry about it. And I'm not a jealous woman, but it's just, I don't know.
So you want to know that your husband don't date Becky because a lot of Becky's around? As if y'all lived in Peachtree City in Atlanta, Keisha and them ain't gonna want your husband.
Yeah, but he's not gonna want a Keisha in them. That's
So you think that black men that date white women exclusively date white women?
No. I mean, if they're dating other black women too, they're dating a specific type of black woman or certain cut from a certain cloth. They're not dating the Keisha, especially if they're dating white women. So, but does that make sense?
Go ahead, Dr. Eddie.
So 85% of black men marry black women who do get married. And conversely, with black women, it's about the same. So it's in the high 80s. So I think that we overhype a smaller percentage of these marriages because it's still not it's the norm, of course, but it's not. I think that every time that it happens, it seems like I'll hear people say, "Oh, it's just all over. Everybody's doing." No, it's just it is. I think that in this age of social media, the outliers. So you have people that get married, they marry outside their race. Nobody makes a big deal about it, right? They go about their lives, they do whatever. Then you have people that either get married or date outside their race, and then they say those same comments that we were hearing earlier. That black women can't do this, and I'm tired of this, and I need da 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 da. And I'm like, those are the outliers for men and for women. And I think that for the vast majority of people that are either dating, getting married, or have been married, you marry people that have similar experiences or their relatives have had similar experiences to you. So you marry, you have black brothers, uncles, if you're a woman, black your father, brothers, uncles, what have you, cousins. So you know that. Same thing, black men. You marry your grandmother, your mother, whatever, and those experiences, and you have somebody that you can lean on because that's part of that marriage contract. Marriage is not for the timid or the weak. Long-term marriages. I think that a lot of people get married and think that it's like a long date, and then they get sick of it and they break up. And I mean, there are marriages that don't need to happen, and there's varied reasons. But it was interesting. Some of my students, we ended up on that relationship banter because I was teaching African American history class, and we were talking about slave marriages and what happened after emancipation, where actually a lot of the slave marriages had to become legal now because, of course, they were free, right? And so they were like, these people were married for X amount of years, and wow, I can't believe it. And so, of course, you always have a nosy student, and they were like, so how long have you been married? And I'm like, over 20 years. And they were like freaking out, like, oh my God, like I don't know anybody that's been married that long, or da 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 da. And is that your first wife? That's my only wife. I'm not doing this again. That's been it. So I think that's part of it. I think that the way society plays it, and I think especially now with social media and entertainment and such, that it becomes that issue. It becomes that thing. And I guess that's like Chris Rocks of the world and all these other people. They're not the vast majority of people. They're the regular people you see, the older people that you see married. And when you go on Facebook and you see that these people have been married 50, 60 years, and they look so cute and they're old and they're just holding hands and what have you, and they probably had their turn of going through some hellified arguments, but they're still together. And I think that's what we need to concentrate on. And it starts with that honesty.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
I don't disagree, Dr. Edley. So, Janelle, I want to just continue to pick with you some more about that question. I'm bothered by that question. I am truly bothered by the question, and I'm bothered by something else that you said. You said that if he messes with white women, then he only messes with certain kinds of black women. What is that saying? What are you saying there, Janelle?
Well, okay, from my experience, I don't want to generalize here, but from my experience, the black men that I've dated who date white women and black women, they're a little bougie. So they're probably dating the bougie black women or the well-to-do black women, the highly educated black women, and they're dating the white women. These are my experiences. They're not dating the Keishas and the girls with the 5-6 kids, still in the hood, braiding hair, selling chicken out the back door, and these are just the people that I've dealt with, So, but there's also black men who date, women from the hood and black women, bougie black women, and white trailer trash and all this. So I'm just saying based on like my experience. But I like a solid black man who just thinks a woman who is black is the queen, just like his mother that he was born from is a queen. And I don't want to sound, prejudiced. I'm not prejudiced. My mom's 25% Caucasian, and I come from a Caucasian background. I went to an all white school growing up. So it's like, I'm not trying to sound, like racial, but for me personally, if I want to be in a relationship with someone, I want someone who values me as a woman and what I have to bring to the table. And I know that if someone has their options spread out across the world, where they can just go to Colombia and date someone, they can go to Spain, they're going to date someone, but bring it back home to your Nubian queen, you know?
I'm gonna leave you alone for a second, Kashima. So do you share Janelle's sentiment with respect to men that date outside? And actually, I want to no, strike that. I want to amend that question, because a lot of women don't have a problem with him dating, Mei Ling or Maria. They have a specific issue with him dating Becky. Do you have an issue with men dating out, or specifically men that date white women?
I mean, no, I can't say I do because I have, I have family members who married, the other race. I really don't care. Just love who you want to love. Love who treats you right. That's what I say.
Yeah,
Janelle, you
and let me just be clear.
Go
They
ahead.
can do it with whoever they want, but if it's somebody that's in my bedroom and I'm trying to get to know, like if I was single, I want you to just be worried about me. I don't care about
Yeah.
my brother or my cousin, my uncle wants to date a white woman. That's fine. Go ahead. Bring off our
Yo,
shirt.
yo, man just can't do it.
No, we can't. No, because they ain't gonna
I'm
be able
gonna
to
t-
fry chicken better than me.
I'm gonna tell your mama you racist against 25% of her. I'll make sure I send her that message. So this brings up an interesting dynamic, and I know that I definitely know that there's a difference between the generations. Kashima's a millennial. Janelle, what are you, Gen X?
Yeah, I'm right there.
So
Yeah,
you're Gen X,
Gen
and
X.
so there's definitely a difference between the two. Dr. Headley, you would have more perspective on this. Why do you think there's a difference between our Gen Xers with respect to dating out and the millennials? I think the millennials do this one better, and it has been my observation that they date more out. What do you think on that, Dr. Headley?
I think that yeah, I agree. It's a different kind of exposure, right? They 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 grew up in the yeah, it made me feel old. They just grew up in a different time, so their whole experience, their worldview is slightly different
Mhm.
than ours. They have more um, of I'm trying to. They have more ways of looking at things. They've had more contacts. They've had more varied experiences than Gen X. We were still. I think we were the last um, generation where we were wedged between the old, corded lines and all this other stuff. I remember, when you were talking about, when we started dating, and you still had corded lines, right? And you had call waiting, you had all this other stuff. By the time you talk about millennials and everything, your cell phones, everything else, it's just totally different. You can do things like this whole format that we're on now didn't exist. So you would talk to your circle of friends. It wouldn't be a wide circle of friends. So we're seeing that digital generation, and so it gives you a more perspective in many ways,
Mhm.
and
So
that's my thought on that.
their proximity is a much larger proximity just because of technology, specifically social media. They have access to a much larger group of circle of folks for which to choose from. So that makes sense. So I got
Yeah.
to ask Kashima this question: Would would you date out?
Lord,
Would you date out?
honestly, nah.
Why
I
not?
just, I just don't see myself ending up with someone who's not a black man. Honestly, y'all irritate me, but I love y'all though.
Right. Yeah. 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 They're gonna get
There,
all that cornbread and cabbage and the fried rice.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna pick. I'm gonna pick again. Now y'all talk about all this good food. Most women, my generation or younger, can't cook.
That's why they need to hang around their auntie some more. Kashima, let me ask you,
Mhm.
do you cook? Can you cook that? Do you have darling?
Yeah, I cook.
That's good. Yeah. You're gonna get a
So
husband before you know it.
you can cook the cabbage and the cornbread and
Black eyed peas.
Yeah, like my daddy's side of the family, I be learning from them because they can throw down, so they taught me. My dad did.
Let me
okay,
ask you this.
okay.
When do you get a brother a meal when you're dating them? When do you start cooking for him?
I'm bad at this. I'll be ready to cook like the second, the first time or the second time or something.
I used to do
I
the
don't
same.
know. Like cooking's like a love language for me or something.
So
You're an
she proved you
anomaly.
wrong. She proved you wrong. Yeah, you're a diamond in
You're
the
you're an anomaly, Kashima.
a
Seriously,
unicorn.
you're a unicorn because a lot of women my age group they cannot cook. They are the wine and dine,
Make a
and
reservation.
yeah, make a reservation.
Reservation, please.
I joke about it all the time, but because I'm like y'all always want to go to restaurants, but I'm like y'all want to go to restaurants because y'all can't cook.
Really, your
Y'all
age group can cook?
they can't. But you're in my age group. What are you talking about? Y'all can't. Most of the women in our age group can't cook.
Is
So
it
I'm
they
like, your
can
age.
cook or they don't
Don't you?
want to cook? Are they
No,
just
hold
plain
on,
not?
Yeah, because it's a difference.
hold on. Wait, Janelle, hold on. Don't back up. Don't you talk about my age group? They're trying to kick me out like I'm that much older than you. But yeah, our age group they can't cook. They
Really?
don't cook. Yeah, come on now.
We're like the OGs. We're supposed to be. We came up in
No,
that era. It's like
no.
wow.
A lot of these women cannot cook. They don't have those domestic skills that necessary. That's why a lot of guys talk about the lack of quote unquote marriageable women because they don't have those traditional skills. And this is a whole another conversation that we'll have on a different day. But you know, we said this before. We've had these discussions about women want traditional men, but they're so non-traditional. And that's not a fair exchange. But that's another show for another conversation. But yeah, you know that you knew that, Janelle.
No, honestly, that's a shocker to me. I did not know that. I thought a lot of women my age, late 30s, early 40s, were cooking. Maybe that's why they're all single, not married. I don't know.
Yeah, there's many things that we can uncover there. So I got one more question for you, Janelle. Then we got to kind of wrap it up. So I got to pick for you one last time. So you don't want your husband, you know, having previously dated, which he hasn't. You already established that, which I think is hilarious. Um, Kashima doesn't care. She just prefers to date a black man. She don't care if he dated Becky. So you have a child, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
I have a
Boy, girl,
2-year-old.
boy, girl.
A 2-year-old girl.
Yeah, yellow girl. So if baby girl, I'm gonna just call her baby girl because I don't want to speak anything of your daughter. Baby girl comes home from college and she got Chad under her arm. Mommy, I'm in love. What does mommy say
Oh,
to
you just
baby
hit me
girl?
with it.
What does mommy say to baby girl in private? Because you ain't gonna say it in front of Chad. What does mommy say to baby girl in private?
I mean, it's funny because my nephew he doesn't date black girls. He only dates, and he's Wesley. He's like Wesley Snipes black and everything. It's funny because I look at him when he first brought his first Caucasian girlfriend home, and I was like, okay, well, we grew up, it makes sense because there's not a lot of options for younger black girls. But if my daughter came home with it, honestly, I told you earlier, it's only for me and who's in my bedroom. Like, if that person makes you happy, go for it. And then you want to show them how to fry chicken and fish and everything in the same grease, that's on you, you know. You want to let them know, you know, we use Crisco for elbow grease, that's on you. But, you know, I think as long as you can learn each other's language culturally and all of that, then it could work. But for me, I ain't got the time. I'm not doing it. I don't want no pink ponies hanging around me.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Whew, we have unpacked a lot. We have unpacked a lot. Before we close, any final thoughts? Doc, we just talked Dr. Headley. Any final thoughts, Dr. Headley? Before we close?
I think that we just need to realize that dating has always been an issue, and it's
No sound.
Your sound's
And he
gone.
froze up.
you know, a non-black person home. It's like it was like my wife says, you know, if you can't use the comb, you can't come in the home. So that's that.
Same thing I was saying
That's
earlier. You can't use a comb,
yeah.
don't bring them home. Yeah,
Right.
you can't use a comb, don't bring them
So
home.
right, and I know it is funny, but yeah, it's just one of those things. You want somebody that will be in a situation where they, you know, something happens at work or something happens in society that they understand. And I always say, and I've talked to some of my students about that. I said the first time that y'all have an argument and that word comes out, that's going to change the whole dynamic of the relationship. I don't care what you say. I don't care how in love you are, because it's going to come up and it's going to come out.
Mm-hmm.
If the N word comes out, I mean, and you know, we're bad about doing it amongst ourselves, but if it comes out and it's a non-black person, there's a whole nother dynamic to that.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you deal with it? And I think that's part and parcel of it. And one more thing, I wrote it in the chat about cooking, and it's not only women that are supposed to be able to cook. Men need to learn how to cook. I know my mom said that.
Mm-hmm.
She said you have to learn how to. She taught me how to cook. She's like, because you'll starve. You might marry somebody that doesn't know how to cook, and you're sitting there waiting on somebody to cook, and you'll be dead. So
That's
it's
that's why I'm still skinny, y'all.
Oh,
so, so it's just one of those things that and when you have children, you have to teach them those skills as well. It's good to be independent, but it's also good to have a relationship, a sincere relationship, hopefully. So that's my little 2 cents.
All right, Kashima, final thoughts.
I just think men and women need to listen to each other better. We don't get y'all, y'all don't get us. We just need to do better listening, understanding, comprehending. Don't talk at the person, but talk to them. So that's it.
Okay, you give me hope for the next generation, Kashima. Janelle.
I have 2 parts just real quick. So
Go
you
ahead.
don't feel too old, Dr. Headley. I remember when I was dating back in the day when you used to have to call live links and you call people on the phone, you connect with them. And,
Live
they
links.
had
Oh
to,
my God. She
they had
said
to
live links.
mail me a
Oh my
picture so I could see what they
God.
look like. And I remember opening that mail like, oh, it's
Oh
my
my
future husband.
God. Oh my
Child,
God.
listen. I had to wait for them wait right at the mailbox for them letters to come in with those pictures of those people. Don't feel
Well, I'm
and
not.
that's
I'm not that old. I'm in my early 50s, so it's not like I'm
oh
right.
yeah.
Because people like look at the beard, they're like, you're 75. No, I'm not. I'm not.
No,
No, but
yeah.
it's just what it is. Yeah, it's one of those things. I just remember a couple of friends and I were talking about uh remembering when you had to call and you called the parent instead of calling the person, you had to call the house. And
Yep.
so the mother and the father answered, you have to have that respect, and I think that's missing as well. So you have
Yeah.
to say hello to Mr. and Miss so and so or grandma, and how are you doing, and you have some kind of soft skills, so at least they'll give the phone to the person that you want to talk to. And I think that's part that's missing, because now you just get you call them at night. You'll be sitting in 2 o'clock in the morning. I've caught my oldest son now. He starts college next month, and he'll be dead asleep. And I'm like, see, this is gonna be wild. It's just a whole new world. Um, but
Yeah.
yeah,
It
yeah,
is it's true. My second part is date who you want to date. Whether it's a white woman, if you're a black man, you want to date Chinese, white, whatever, whoever makes you happy, and you can culturally adapt and understand each other's language and respect each other and raise your children collaboratively. Great, do it. But it just ain't gonna be in my bedroom, and that's all I was saying. It's personal to me. I'm not dealing with it.
Me and Janelle said if you don't date only black, don't call her back. That's
Yeah,
Janelle's
man,
words to
doing
the
no
wise.
pink ponies. It can't make me a tenderoni.
Word, word to the wise. You are hilarious. Well, it's been a show. Before I close, just want to invite you all to tune back in here Thursday, right back here, same bat time, same bat channel, here at Black Space Live for our show next here on Thursday. The topic, well, you have to tune in to see. Also, I've started a new podcast series on Clubhouse. If you're a member of Clubhouse, or if you're not a member of Clubhouse, go ahead and download the app and join me for a podcast called The Practical Christian. It's a conversation talking about the practicalities of being a Christian and walking this Christian walk from a more practical standpoint. It's not preachy, y'all. It's not preachy. It's good conversation. So if you're free this Friday at 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, tune in. It's a good conversation. Well, that's it for me, y'all. I'm your host, the Penny Lamar Penny Finley, along with Janelle, Miss Dr. Headley Kashima. It's been a pleasure, and this has been Black Space. See y'all later.
all right.